The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of Green Acres and our guests. These general gardening tips and suggestions may work for you, as well as those from alternative sources. When using any garden products or tools, read and follow all label directions.
The Green Acres Garden Podcast is the podcast dedicated to helping gardeners hone their growing skills while we celebrate our love of plants. So whether you're new to growing or a seasoned gardener, you're sure to learn something new. Join the fun as we have conversations with world-class growers, passionate green thumbs, and professional garden experts from Green Acres Nursery and Supply. Listen every week. We'll answer questions you didn't know you had. Actually, I was going for a walk the other day, and I noticed a squirrel in my neighbor's yard running with something bright red in its mouth.
Okay, was it a tomato or something?
That's what I thought at first, and I got closer, and I looked at the squirrel. He stops, looks at me, and kind of winks an eye. If he seemed like it runs off, I'm just kidding. I get closer. It was a rosebud. It was like a freshly growing, bright, brilliant, blood red rosebud, and that squirrel wanted to take a bite. Isn't that crazy? Even the squirrels are after the roses.
Wow, that's surprising.
It was cool.
They're very busy out there, those little rascals.
Dude, yes, they are industrious. Should we start? You ready to start?
Sure.
All right, let's do it. And away we grow. Hey there, one and all, and welcome to the show. This is the Green Acres Garden Podcast. Man, I'm so happy to be here. It is such a beautiful time of year, especially in the garden. For me, I'm at home with the family on summer break. I've been in and out on vacation, just fresh off of vacation.
Yeah, congrats.
And of course, before we get into that, let's give a warm welcome to my co-pilot for this episode. This is someone who always makes me sound way better than I am. Austin Blank. How's it going, Austin?
Hey, I'm doing great. I'm enjoying the summer.
I'm loving it.
I'm getting out and about. I did some camping. I've been going to the river more to see.
Beautiful.
It's just so nice out. I'm trying to soak it all in, you know?
For sure. Oh, yeah. Got to live it up before it gets crazy hot.
Crazy hot.
But it's actually been really nice. I'm going to be positive. We've had a really interesting, kind of warm, then cool, then warm kind of spring. I'm going to take it for what it is.
Sure.
The garden, I'm at the stage right now. The garden looks so beautiful, but I had to put it on break. I went on vacation to Yosemite, and I got inspired, Austin.
Really?
So,
well, that's a beautiful place. Oh, and
dude.
You've got Half Dome on your
that's
shirt.
Funny. I did not. Yeah. I'm wearing my
Nice.
Half Dome shirt. So Yosemite, beautiful. It was not that busy. I know it was incredible there. And honestly, there was a plant there that really piqued my interest.
Okay.
Especially for today's episode and today's topic, because we're going to get into that. And this plant kind of reminds me of that because this plant supports these creatures. I'm talking about a plant that actually breaks through the snow, and that actually where it gets its name, the snow plant. This is a plant, Austin, that lacks chlorophyll, so it doesn't get green. It actually stays kind of like a bright, fiery red. It looks so unusual. So it doesn't even photosynthesize like most other plants do. So we always say it's all other plants in the garden, they need sunlight to grow.
Right, yeah.
This one actually grows off of the energy of a fungus that is actually attached to the roots of a pine tree.
Whoa.
So it's pretty cool. You want to hear a little bit?
Yeah.
So it is a distinctive red plant. It grows on the forest floor kind of this time of year, late May, early June, and it's not green. It's very cool. It can be found in northern Baja, southern Oregon, but right here in our own backyard in California. It has no chlorophyll. It parasitizes like a
parasite.
Yes, so it grows off that fungus in a mutually beneficial relationship with nearby pine and fir trees. So the fungus helps the trees get water and take up nutrients and vice versa. And then that plant, the snow plant, is kind of tapped into that energy source. So it obtains nutrients and sugars directly from the fungus. So it's pretty cool. A bunch of other creatures and organisms at the park kind of can do that. And a bunch of animals feed on the pollen and nectar of the snow plant, including hummingbirds. And of course, today's topic, bees.
Whoa.
So that is my plant of the week. Now, this is probably not a plant we're all going to race out and go get on our own gardens
We
because
can't grow that here.
It's a native plant that grows in a very unique place. So if you want to see it, you got to get out into nature.
Did you see it?
We saw a few of them on the side of the trails there popping up. It's pretty cool. We saw so many other things, though. I mean, the dogwoods are going off there, but it's a very common little plant at the time of the year that we went. So
I've never heard of it.
Very cool. I look them up. Snow plant.
That's awesome.
Very cool native plant, and that kind of leads into today's topic, Austin.
Well, you mentioned so bees. We love bees around here, and we've talked about bees a little bit in the past. We've had some bee guests on, and we're lucky enough to have one of them back.
Yes.
One of my favorite guests of all time, Dick the Beekeeper. And he is a local guy that's just so passionate about bees.
Yeah.
Kevin, why are we talking about bees?
So we got to meet up with our good buddy, Tim Dick. Like you mentioned, he is a return guest. We've had him on a year or two ago, and he just got into beekeeping one day. Just how a lot of our listeners one day we're like, I'm into garden now. I'm gonna grow some plants, and then it kind of spirals. Hopefully not out of control. Maybe it snowballs. But that happened for him, where he just got the bug. Honestly, maybe he got stung. And
I think he tried the honey.
He tried
That's
some honey.
what it was.
So this guest is super passionate about honey. I guess maybe that's the way to think about this episode is today's guest will teach you about the love and just the joy of the same way we grow a tomato or a bell pepper like I brought in for you today, Austin.
Thank you.
And it makes me stoked. He gets that way about producing honey and wax and all this, the products that the bees create. He loves interacting with his bees, splitting the hives, just how a lot of our listeners, you get all excited when you clone or clip a plant and do your air layering or cloning of your plants and you get a brand new, entirely new creation. He loves that. Bees are that way to him. And he is basically going to teach us how to turn our flowers and our garden and even our neighbors' flowers and gardens into food, into delicious honey, nature's first candy. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's so cool. Interesting. I like that point you made. It's like it's utilizing the neighborhood's flowers too.
For sure. He even said he'll say in the episode, he'll teach us some really incredible things. I don't want to step on his stories, but we're going to learn a little bit about the world of bees. We're going to learn about his world into actually working with them and how he splits them and what does that look like. But honestly, we're going to hear about honey, the different flavors, and how even two hives that can be stacked right next to each other, inches away, can have preferences. The bees will figure out different sources of flowers, and that affects the honey. And so in your own backyard, he's cranking out jars and jars of delicious, flavorful honey that each one is unique and different. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, super wild, super cool stuff. Gosh, bees are just so fascinating. I can't wait to jump into this interview. We sat down with Tim Dick at our Green Acres Nursery and Supply in Citrus Heights. Let's go ahead and jump into that now. Here we go.
I've been moving colonies from many locations for people that want to have beehives in their backyard, so they have more pollination and also their own unique flavored honeys, because based on the location will predominantly make that honey that to a certain flavor, because there might be more citrus nearby or there might be more blackberries nearby. So every location has a unique flavor profile. Okay, so my name's Tim Dick. I'm from Orangeville. I'm a local beekeeper. Say you have a peach tree and it just didn't produce like the following year, and then you get some. So if you get bees on the property, you get like a 20 to 80% increase in pollination, depending on the preference of the colony, because they have their own preference. Every colony has like a personality, so they have a preference. Each one does. So you could have many colonies side by side, and each one will have their own preference on what they want to forage on.
I'm curious, kind of what you've learned since we last spoke. It's been a long year. You've been really busy, kind of getting after it. What are some of the lessons that you've learned this year?
Well, I've learned when you lose colonies, you need to start making splits or new colonies from the remaining colonies that you still have. So I do a method called the walk-away split, and basically I'll have a very healthy colony, and from there I'll take a 5-frame hive container with the deep frames that go inside that, and I'll take 5 frames from that healthy colony, usually 2 resource frames and 2 brood frames that have no queen on it, but just a bunch of bees on it, with eggs and larvae, and then 1 empty frame, so they have something to work on. And then I'll walk away. Like 3 weeks later, I'll check on them, and there will be a new queen in there.
Just because there's the proper amount of available space?
So, yeah, I'll put enough bees in there, and that includes baby bees, nurse bees, all the worker bees in that container. And after 2 hours, noticing they have no queen, they're queenless, they start seeing all those eggs and they start selecting like a couple dozen of them to create a new queen. So then it takes about 16 days for a queen to emerge, or from egg to hatch.
Is that because they start feeding those larvae with the royal jelly?
Absolutely, yeah, it's the diet. So it's a worker bee egg, and so it turns the worker bee to a queen bee with ovaries. So that's what the queen is. And so basically it takes 16 days for the queen to emerge from egg to a virgin queen, and then she'll do her mating flight, which is generally, I want to say, like a week. As soon as she hatches, she'll kill off all the other queens that haven't hatched, and then she'll do her mating flight. It takes about a week, I would say, and then she'll come back after she's mated with enough drones, like 6 to a dozen drones. So she's has enough semen to fertilize up to 1,500 to 2,000 eggs a day for up to 2 to 5 years.
Wow. So you can just start cranking out the bees and the eggs.
Yeah, and if she gets too old or she's not laying enough, they'll actually supersede her, kill her, and then they'll erect a new virgin queen so that they have a healthier queen that
Game of Thrones.
It is a trip, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. They're like, all right, we've got to move on. The hive must continue.
So I do the walkaway split. So from one healthy colony 1 year, I actually split the colony 6 times. It was such a large colony that I was able to do it within like a 3 to 4 month period, just making several splits. I think it was 4 actually, but I replenished all these colonies I lost. That even though if you do the right thing, you do your mite treatments and you're doing your inspections, you make sure they have enough honey resources and enough space for them to build out. You come across a weird phenomena from time to time where they abscond or they die, and it's like a kind of a weird situation. But you got to be ready. As soon as spring hits, they start their brood rearing. The queen's brood rearing pattern just explodes. So you got to be prepared to start making splits as soon as possible because they'll want to fill in that whole hive once again. And it gets overcrowded real quickly, and that's why they're more prone to swarming right in around March to June, especially in our area.
So Tim, we just came off a beautiful wet winter, an amazing spring. I know bees, they tend to do that thing like swarming. Can you describe a little bit what swarming is? And how was this season for swarming? Did you experience a bit of action? And does the weather play a role in that at all?
Okay, so that's really a good question. So swarming is the process when the bees are maxed out in their home, their colony that they live in. And so what they'll do is they'll send scout bees to go check out a new area. And then those scout bees will come back, tell that queen, hey, we found a spot. And so half that colony will leave with that old queen. But before they leave, they'll leave a capped queen cell, a virgin queen, in the hive. So half the colony will leave with the old queen, with those from where those scout bees were saying that's the new home we want to move into. And then the other half will stay behind and wait for that new virgin queen to emerge. And she's already accepted. But as far as the difference in swarm seasons, like I know swarm season is between, for us, March to June generally. From last year for this, I didn't actually get too many swarm calls. Might have been, maybe people weren't just calling me or whatever. But this year I've noticed I did get a few calls, and I think honestly, it was a little moist this year, a little
we
wet.
had plenty of rain, yeah.
Yeah, and I believe that plays a crucial role in how we see swarms moreover. When it's a drier year, I don't see very many swarms. But
is that just because we have more flowers, more abundance, a little bit more opportunity?
More resources, probably, another nectar flow, I guess. Yeah, I did read that right before a storm or right after a storm is usually when you will see a swarm. It's kind of interesting, but that is
natural pressure for them.
It's actually kind of true because I've caught a lot of my swarms right after a rainstorm came through, and it's kind of weird. And I'm like, I'm not ready, of course, to catch a swarm, but then there they are. They come right in onto my property, for example, and I'm like, wow, that's kind of bizarre. But yeah, I'll spray a spot on a tree, for example, or in my orchard with some Swarm Commander, which is like a swarm attractant spray, and it wears off after a few weeks or whatever. But after a rainstorm comes through, sometimes, sure enough, I'll get one of those swarms that comes in and it lands on that spot.
Are you like jackpot?
I know, yeah. I mean, it's basically $200.
Yeah.
Because a package of bees is $200. So when you see a swarm, that's like $200 in your pocket. But then from there, when I see a swarm and how I collect them, I'll take a bed sheet and I'll like put it down, and I'll put a frame or a box down and I'll spray those bees with sugar water, and then I'll brush them off onto a flat surface, put them in the box until they're all gone and into the box, and then I'll wait a couple more hours for all those bees flying around to go into the box, and maybe wrap that container with the bed sheet and then move it to wherever I need to.
So I'm out in the garden quite a bit, like most of our listeners. I love being out there. I love seeing the bees, but I don't necessarily want to get stung by one. It's been years and years since I've been stung by a bee. But let's say a listener's out in the garden, they get stung by a bee. What is the best practice?
Well, if you get stung, you can see where they stung you, and the way the stinger comes in, you can flick it out with your finger. Don't pinch it.
The same direction it came in.
Yeah, and then you'll put some mud on it, and then just go get a glass of water and just relax. Might be sore or numb for a bit, but that mud will extract the venom out. But generally, before they sting you, they'll scan you. So when you see a bee zigzagging in front of your face, they're actually scanning you to see if you're a threat or an ally. They're smelling your pheromones, they see your facial expressions, they see your patterns, your body movement, and they'll decipher you basically and find out if you're a threat or ally. If you keep your composure and you just have a calm demeanor to yourself and you're not swatting at them, they'll scan you, they'll see, okay, you're not a threat, and they'll just move on. So it's one of those things you got to pay attention to, because if they're zigzagging in front of your face and they're not like bombarding you, like diving into your face and bumping,
they're checking you out.
Yeah, if they're bumping into your face, you might get stung, because they're like telling you that's like their last warning, like you're in too close to our proximity and you're a threat or something. But that's generally not always the case. They're usually just scanning you, and if you swat at them, might not be the best idea. Just let them be, and then go on with your day after they fly away.
A lot of our listeners, they're plant focused, they're garden people. And we want to help the bees. We love honeybees. We love our native bees. We want our gardens just packed full of bees. What are some plants that you've been noticing that are just that you're either your bees or just bees in general just tend to go crazy for? What are some tried and true?
The top pollinator plants I recommend to have in your garden would be definitely oregano, lavender, rosemary, borage. Thyme is really, really big because of the oil that it produces. Why is
that? The oil, if they enjoy it, they utilize the oil somehow?
Well, every plant has their own oils that they have on them that helps the bees actually stay more hygienic and immune system strong. And the thyme plant, not only is it great for like cooking and stuff.
Oh, I love it.
But there's an oil on it called thymol or thyme oil. And that's one of the main ingredients in these mite treatments. It's absolutely lethal to the varroa mites. So I like to grow a different variety of those type of plants and put them in my yard, just so I have not only pollination for neighboring plants, and to increase native bees and whatnot, but it helps my bees stay hygienic and like keep their immune system strong. So having a lot of different plants on your property is one of the most important key things to having healthy colonies. You want to have different things for them to forage on, because just like our bodies, we want to have a healthy diet. We want to eat our fruits and vegetables.
Wide range.
Yeah, so bees are absolutely similar in that aspect. They want to have a whole different variety of plants and fruit trees to forage, so they stay healthy, and that and kind of repeat the process of their swarming and stuff, and you can keep reproducing those colonies. So in my yard, for instance, I'll have several different fruit trees that blossom all year round, because at some point we go through a nectar dearth, right? And instead of having to feed your bees sugar water to kind of supplement them to get them through like the nectar dearth all the way up until when it's spring again, it's good to have things that are in blossom all year round, or something that starts blossoming, and that's not just fruit trees, but that's like, vegetables in your garden. You can have like winter squash or, sunflowers. You can have these pollinator plants, some of these different pollinator plants, and wildflowers. You can just start planting wildflowers and have a whole another, growth of wildflowers pop up, and they love that. But the fruit trees, yeah, I'll graft on different fruit tree varieties on one tree. So then one variety might blossom at one point of the year and another one will blossom.
So even that just one single tree is at least pulling some weight and
Yeah,
extending the nectar flow.
because a lot of people don't have a giant yard. So you want to utilize the property that you got because the land is gold. You can grow whatever you want depending on your grow zone. Here in our grow zone, I mean, you can grow avocados, mangoes. I actually, it's funny, I planted a cacao tree in my backyard. I had it growing.
I'm ready for some chocolate. Let's go.
But no, it's just you want to utilize your land if you don't have a big yard. So if grafting is pretty important, and that way you can have pollination all year round if you have different varieties that fruit.
Early season, mid-season, late season fruit.
Absolutely. So that's what I've been doing lately, and more of an edible landscaping thing to keep my bees going, and for me to be able to cook and stuff and use anything for medicine, for tea or something, for instance.
That's fun.
So,
Well,
yeah.
for someone who's listening who maybe is just like the neighbor of a beekeeper or somebody who wants to help, folks like you, what are the do's and don'ts? What are some things that we can be encouraging people to do in their own gardens to support, the bees, whether they be native bees or honeybees? What can folks be doing? And then what can we be avoiding?
Well, first of all, I'd avoid using certain pesticides. Do a more natural approach when it comes to killing off certain plants, because it will affect the bees. When they're foraging, they get that stuff on them. They can bring it back to the colony, and it affects the entire colony. And that might be one of the reasons why we're losing all these colonies, for beekeepers worldwide. So we need to pay attention to that. But, if they want to promote pollination and bees coming to their property, I would recommend putting pollinator plants nearby, or companion plants nearby for instance, have a tomato plant, you put some basil next to it, maybe some oregano nearby.
I notice when basil blooms, it's covered in bees.
Yeah, so that, and sunflowers are cool too. You have them in the mix, and you'll have all these different bees coming to that, mason bees or leafcutter bees, maybe some, bumblebees, for instance. Up in Nevada City where my uncle lives, man, there's acres and acres of all these blackberries taking up these whole hillsides.
Oh, yeah.
And they're all in blossom, and it's just, you go up to one of these areas and you can just hear the hum from the bees pollinating all these flowers. You're like, dang, this would be a cool spot to have some bees. Then you got like a blackberry.
How many hives are you at right now?
Well, I help maintain 4 in Carmichael here, and then I have maintained 7 up in Nevada City right now, and then 7 in Orangeville.
There you go.
So right now, I just kind of help other people get into it. That's one of the main missions, because say I'd age out, there's got to be.
Yeah, you're a young guy. You're okay.
Yeah, I mean, beekeepers have one of the longer living professions, supposedly, but just in case, you got to look to the future and try to pass on the knowledge, because the knowledge is gold, and you want to have people kind of keep on the legacy, and I'm trying to pass that on to my nieces and nephews, because I don't have my own kids myself, but I still I try to pique their interest in giving them some wisdom as far as the experience I have.
It's fun to share the things that you're passionate about. I love it. I think it needs to be shared.
Me being very experienced at the beekeeping, I lose colonies, from time to time, and it's just a learning curve you have to go through to become even better, like the following year. But yeah, it's fun, and it's just one of those things I think people underestimate. They need to, if you're a gardener, I recommend you get into beekeeping, because then you'll get increased pollination, yield, and everything.
It's like one benefits the other.
Absolutely.
I love it. Well, Tim, I love talking bees with you. If there's one last thing you could share with us when it comes to bees, what would you like to share?
Well, if you have a swarm on your property, give me a call, or give someone else a call.
Yeah.
A local beekeeper, because we want to keep our bees and move them to a good home. And if anyone's interested in beekeeping, I recommend you pick it up, because it's one of those things. It's It's a lot of fun, and you get to really enjoy the benefits from it, and share the honey with your friends and family. It makes great Christmas gifts. You can do
come on, a fresh little jar of honey from Uncle Tim. Come on.
Yes, yeah, and there's different bee products too you can collect that I didn't really discuss, but that are very beneficial for us. But it's
not just the honey, right? It's the wax, it's the propolis. So if someone's curious and they want to reach out to you, they got a swarm or they want to learn from you, what is the best way to get in touch with you?
For right now, I would say my email. Go on, put down Tim Dick, one word, all lowercase, 2017 at gmail.com, and send me an email and I'll contact you back, All
right, well, hopefully we'll have you back next time. We'll talk more about bees, man. Thank you so much, Tim.
Yep, no problem. Anytime.
All right, we're back from our interview with Tim. Big thank you to Tim. Thank you so much for sitting down with us. I had a blast. I am still just amazed by the idea that these bees are scanning our faces. That is so cool. I feel like I've seen that happen. I didn't know what they were doing though.
Yeah, you feel like you're under attack, but really you're just getting scanned. Yeah, we didn't realize we were stepping our toe into this week's episode. We're like, all right, we're going into a world of drones, surveillance, security, weaponry, and you're like, what am I talking about? The modern world? No, just bees, bee colony. I love it though, but you think always the worst. Oh, they're going to come get me. No, they're just scanning you.
No, bees are so
Take
chill.
a breath. They're pretty. One of the things that really relaxes me, I love going out in the garden right now in the morning, and the sun starts coming up, and you start seeing the activity begin in the garden. I've got a bit of lavender, a bit of salvia out there, and some other flowers. And I'm starting to notice more and more this time of year. And I'm noticing a lot of different types of bees, which is encouraging. Even today, like it came up in our episode, I noticed on some of my roses, I'm like, oh, something's been nibbling on this. What is that? Leaf cutter bees.
Oh.
So that's exciting. I love it. The whole world of bees, there's never not something to learn. Last time we were with him, it blew my mind.
Right.
He really took us inside. Today's episode, we got to learn about him and his world. The first episode, we really delved deep into the inside of the hive and
the colony
world
itself.
of the colony
Yeah.
and the bees and their roles and how they're different. The job kind of gets one job to another as you get older through the hive and the colony.
12 different jobs the bees
So
go
cool.
through.
So I would highly recommend anyone,
Yeah.
if you listen to this and you're like, yeah, bees are pretty cool. I love bees. Go listen to Tim's first episode. We'll link that in the description if we can.
Sure.
Fascinating. Friggin' incredible.
Yeah.
I love it. And there's never not something to learn. And as much as we love all the honey and all that, we really just love bees in general.
And attracting them. I was surprised to hear he shouted out some plants that he really
great
believes
recommendations.
in as attractants for bees. And it was so cool to hear about. He mentioned thyme, and it's got that oil in it that the bees use to clean themselves, and it helps fight off the mites for them. And that's just all in a simple thyme plant. That's so fast. And that's an easy plant to grow.
All those ones he listed are all plants I have in the garden, and all plants I recommend highly already, just because they're already beneficial for everything else. It's good to know that, you see the bees on those little blossoms.
Well, what's your go-to when you think of attracting bees? What do you go for?
Well, of course, we always bring up lavender. Lavender is a heavy hitter. I have a lot of Spanish lavender. It can tolerate our hot weather, but the English, the French, and there's a bunch of different varieties and cultivars within all of the lavenders, the lavandula. But the ones he mentioned, if you notice, the through line is a lot of them are in the Lamaceae family. So they're all related. The rosemaries, the thymes, the oregano, they're mint. They're in that mint family. So that square stems. So they tend to. I feel like there's a through line there where there's a lot of those plants. The rosemary is a bee magnet. But honestly, we went out and talked to producer Greg about this, and I said, hey, if you wanted a durable plant that's pretty rugged, can tolerate our heat, and will bring in the bees, what would that be? He's like, manzanita. Arctostaphylos. That is a native plant. It is California hardy. It just loves our weather. Beautiful little, it can be evergreen ground cover all the way up to big shrubs and small trees. Manzanita, those are the ones with those brilliant red stems.
Yeah.
Kind of that nice dull green color on the leaf.
They're gorgeous.
Super beautiful, right? And I thought that kind of blew my mind. And then the other one he mentioned, which you don't think of, because I'm thinking things like echinacea, coneflower, nepeta, the catmint, all these things that are kind of down low. He was like, actually, there's some trees that are just beautiful for the bees.
For sure.
He Nisa sylvatica, the tupelo. He was like, that is a beautiful tree full of flowers and it can bloom, and then the bees just come to it like a magnet. So whether it's, helping your buddy and supporting the bees that are making all that delicious honey, or just supporting all those beautiful native bees, of which we have over 1,000 different native species here. Plant. So I think the thing that he mentioned too was having a lot of things that bloom at different times of the year. I thought that was great advice as well.
Right. Give the bees a year-round feast.
Yes. Keep that nectar flowing and keep it flowing long.
The nectar flow.
Get in that nectar flow and just ride it like a wave, dude.
Cowabunga.
Yeah, for sure. I love it. It's fun to see the bees out there. I don't have a hive. I think one day, maybe if I ever got space, that would be pretty cool. But until then, I'm glad there's people like Tim that are leading the charge and just having fun with it, because I just like being out in the garden and actually seeing these beautiful creatures.
Totally.
So until then, I'll be planting some more sunflowers and getting back in my garden. Until then, garden friends, I think that does it for us this week. Austin, I wish you the best. Thank you so much for their great edit. Man, it's always wonderful to spend time with you, man.
Yeah,
I love
thanks for being here, and thanks for bringing the treats from the garden.
I didn't even mention,
I love doing it, and I've been cooking with this stuff every week.
I love it. So I'll keep bringing it. So we got a sack full of tomatoes and fruit here for you.
Bring it on.
Until next time, garden friends, get out in that garden. I wish you the very best. If you're like me, you're getting hot, you're getting sweaty, you got some dirt underneath those nails, and you've never felt better. So if you're like me, I hope that keeps coming for you. Come back next week from their garden adventure, friends. And until then, happy gardening to you all. And please never stop growing.